What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of you guys are enjoying your Sunday. So I finished watching part one of the Where's Wendy Williams documentary, and I have to agree with a lot of the comments that I'm seeing online. A lot of people are saying that they felt really uncomfortable. They felt like she was being exploited. There were other instances throughout the documentary that talked about how Wendy was, essentially talent and that she could never really, you know, take a beat or take a break. And that's so harmful, right? We know that she's lost her mother. She lost, essentially her husband, who was also her manager on the Wendy Williams show, Kevin Hunter, due to his issues with infidelity with Sharina Hudson. Then we also know about Wells Fargo, essentially, and them, uh, I guess, having a court ordered conservator who has essentially tried to stop this documentary from coming out. We also know that her son, in my opinion, her son and I feel like DJ Booth are the two people in her corner that really have her best interest at heart, right? Now, yes, when he talked about, his mother essentially trying to make up for the fact that she was an alcoholic by not buying his love, but, just giving him a very lavish lifestyle. Like, his penthouse apartment in Miami was around $80,000 a month. And then she had $100,000 Uber Eats order for him, a party for him was $120,000. These are expensive, but you guys have to keep in mind that Wendy Williams has been a multimillionaire for a very long time. And so they're saying now that her net worth has dwindled from, making $20 million to essentially like $500,000. But here's my issue, right? Her manager, Will, to me, in my opinion, does not seem like he has her best interests at heart. A lot of people have echoed that same sentiment. Um, I feel like whoever the court appointed conservator is, that's sketchy to me as well. And here's why, right? One, she was doing a lot better with her son, Kevin, while she was in Miami with him. And I know that she tried to push him away because he didn't let her drink, just like her sister Wanda doesn't let her drink liquor. And Will, unfortunately, he put her on blast. Like he asked her, did you drink that whole bottle today? And was like sitting right in front of the cameras. I feel like the one thing that kept coming to my mind, the one question that I kept asking myself was, would they do this to Bruce Willis? The answer is no. And not even just because of like Demi Moore. I don't feel like any camera crew would want that smoke. I don't feel like they would want the backlash. I don't think that he would have a court appointed conservator handling his money and his assets, right? Especially if they weren't family. I feel like because Wendy is a woman, specifically a Black woman, and because she does have an issue with alcoholism, the people, including the courts, are taking advantage of that. I really do. I feel like between her son and her sister, I feel like her family should have been the first ones in line to, you know, to be in charge of her finances. She said, in the documentary that she is essentially everything that she worked for, she wanted to pass it on, to her son, Kevin Jr. But yeah, I feel like this is very it's it's exploitive in a way that they would not do to Bruce Willis. That was what kept coming to my mind because he has the exact same diagnosis. And I'm telling y'all, Hollywood would not allow for his image and his legacy and his memory um, in our minds, right? The memory of Bruce Willis to be tarnished in such a way. I honestly, truly believe that. And Wendy, she is, you know, um, she's a piece of work, but I feel like she always has been. She's always had a lot of smoke for celebrities. That's how she built her platform from the days of radio onto TV. Um, I don't like the way that she was talking to the nail tech and the other people. Um, but she has always been, very outspoken. She's never held her tongue, right? Not even with Omarosa or anybody, really. She gives it as good as she gets it. But she's in a place now where, because her diagnosis is dementia, I don't feel like, especially with the frontal lobe of the brain, I don't feel like, cameras being in her face um, is appropriate. I'm really surprised that her son agreed to do it, to be honest. I really, truly am. Um, I know that they said that they started filming this in August of 2022, but I'm wondering how far along, did her dementia progress before she got her diagnosis? I just feel like, when you look at power, I don't remember who it was, what professor it was, or what class I was in college. Um, but we were studying power dynamics. And they said that you can always tell the powerful by those who are protected, right? When you're poor, when you're unprotected, you don't have that privacy. If you notice, the rich and wealthy, they are very private. They live behind gated communities, and they are essentially their mishaps tend to go away quickly and quietly a lot of times, right? This where we got the whole Olivia Pope, um, whose real life, Judy Smith, she was essentially like a handler for the elite of Washington, D.C. But this is the opposite, right? Wendy Williams is wealthy and famous, and yet she is not being protected. She is being exploited by not only those people with the camera crews in her face, but also Wells Fargo does not have a good history when it comes to um, you know their banking, especially dealing with the people of color in this country. They've been sued several times for racial discrimination. So it just makes me wonder, like Will took her to a physical trainer, and I'm like, okay, but you could tell that she wasn't in the right headspace. And he's like, oh, well, I need, 8 to 12 more sessions with Wendy. I feel like everybody is just looking out for their own bank accounts and their own interests, because she doesn't need a physical trainer. You know what I mean? Like, she needs to be in a and I wouldn't even say like a wellness facility, but somewhere that's actually going to help her cognitive abilities, somewhere that's going to focus on, um, her mental health and her alcoholism, right? They're just like, they said that they took her to all these doctors. I think they said that she went to a neurologist. I'm like, okay, that's cool. She was like a psychologist. Why would you send someone to a psychologist if they have dementia? If you know that this, that doesn't make sense to me. If you know that she's on a cognitive decline, then their baseline would be off, right? Any psychologist worth their salt would tell you, you know, you wouldn't necessarily be able to assess their emotional well-being because of the dementia. That doesn't make sense. That to me, again, is just wasting Wendy's money. I feel like they're getting a thrill out of it. I'm just going to be honest, you guys. I really do. I feel bad for Kevin and for Wanda, because if anybody should have been a conservator, it should have been them. They should have been the first ones. Kevin, he's in his 20s. Wanda, she's, around Wendy's age. They're both in their, right mind, sound mind. They're both able bodied. They both love her and they both want the best for her. The only reason why she didn't want them around them was because they wouldn't let her drink liquor. But other than that, those are the ones who should have been responsible for her well being and her bank accounts, not Wells Fargo, not, the court appointed conservator. Because when they asked their questions, The Lifetime quote says, the guardianship has appointed a healthcare advocate who schedules Wendy's doctor's appointments. If you're hiring someone to schedule her appointments, what are you doing as her guardian? A healthcare advocate? Again, that's a waste of money. How hard would it be to dial up a phone or go online and schedule an appointment? That's 5 minutes. It says both the guardian and the healthcare advocate declined requests for interviews and refused to answer any questions about Wendy's health. I bet you they did. I absolutely bet you that they did. And lastly, this quote says, the attorney for Wells Fargo requested that the guardianship case be put under seal to preserve the confidential nature of the proceedings. Again, who was being protected? It's not Wendy Williams. It's all these people who have their hands in her pockets, and it's heartbreaking. And I hope that Kevin and his aunt Wanda and the whole family, her niece that went on The View, Alex, that they get a really good attorney and they go after these people, because I feel like Wendy is definitely being exploited, and it's really sad to see. But you guys, those are my thoughts on part one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I will talk with you in the next video. Take care, Aces. Bye.